President Tinubu launches book on Buhari's life and times, pledges to carry on his legacy.
A legacy is given greater meaning when those who follow choose to continue what has been started. That is my duty, and I pledge that one today.
Federal government reaffirms commitment to Nigerian Army as Chief of Army Staff Conference begins in Lagos.
Since assuming the mantle of leadership, we have followed closely the impressive progress being made in transforming the Nigerian Army.
Senate engages ministries, departments and agencies over 2026-2028 fiscal plan. Budget rollover.
The whole question going around is all about release of payment. Is there money? If there is money, is the payment being made for 2024 and 2025?
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on uniting youth against corruption.
Everywhere you look today, young people are speaking up in classrooms, on the streets, and online, saying enough is enough to corruption. And that's because corruption does not just steal money, it steals opportunities, future, and hope.
Exactly, Yeri. And for young people, corruption hits home harder. It affects jobs, education, healthcare, even trust in leadership. That's why Nigerian youth, like their peers around the world, are no longer waiting on the sidelines. They are demanding accountability and transparency.
And the response is beginning to show. The federal government has stepped up support for anti-corruption efforts, including increased funding for the Code of Conduct Bureau to strengthen its oversight role.
And the CCB has also gone digital, introducing an online asset declaration platform that makes it harder to hide and easier to track public accountability.
Meanwhile, the ICPC continues to tighten the net. In 2025 alone, the Commission has recorded significant recoveries through asset seizures and forfeitures.
Now, but beyond enforcement, there's a clear focus on the future. Anti-corruption clubs are springing up in schools, and youth-centered programs are helping young Nigerians see integrity not just as an abstract idea, but a personal responsibility to the nation.
Because the truth is, fighting corruption actually goes beyond agencies and arrests.
Exactly.
It's a culture. It's an attitude that people should form. And it's about collective action. And when young people take ownership of that fight, the impact can be powerful.
The impact is always powerful, and we've seen around the world how the young people are beginning to change the perspective about leadership and driving young movement, and how much change can really happen when young voices unite against corruption.
Indeed. Those are the questions guiding our conversation today as we spotlight young change makers, examine the cause of corruption, and explore how youth activism is reshaping Nigeria's future. I'm Ian Ray John. It's a pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria this Tuesday. Thank you for starting your day with us.
I'm Juma Yusuf. We are live on the network service of the NTA. The newspaper review is coming up shortly, but not before we serve you the morning headlines with Salwa Khalil Ibrahim. Salwa, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Juma and Ian Ray. It's good to see you again. Now, here is the news. President Bola Tinubu is again promising to carry on the virtues of humility, vision and social justice which late former President Muhammadu Buhari embodied. The president made the commitment in Abuja at the launch of a book that chronicles the life and time of the late president from military to his civilian days.
He believed that a leader must first discipline in himself before he can discipline a system. He lived modestly, and he carried the dignity of that modesty into power. These are the pillars of his legacy.
And the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has reaffirmed his administration's unwavering commitment to welfare, professionalism, and operational effectiveness of the Nigerian Armed Forces. The President gave the assurance at the opening ceremony of the Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference 2025 holding in Lagos. It was reported that the President was represented by the Vice President.
In transforming the Nigerian Army into a professional, adaptable and resilient force, capable of operating decisively within a joint and multi-agency environment.
To judiciary matters now, the Supreme Court has affirmed the President's constitutional authority to declare a state of emergency in a state threatened by breakdown of law and order, including the power to temporarily suspend elected officials as an extraordinary measure to restore stability. The 7-man panel of justices of the Apex Court gave the order in a 6-to-1 split decision on a suit filed by Adamawa State and 10 others challenging President Bola Tinubu's March 18, 2025 declaration of emergency rule in Rivers State. The declaration had led to the 6-month suspension of the state governor, deputy governor, and members of the House of Assembly amid prolonged political crisis and security concerns. Although the court initially dismissed the suit on jurisdictional grounds, ruling that the plaintiffs failed to establish a sufficient cause of action invoking its original jurisdiction, it proceeded to address the substantive issues of clarity. In the lead judgment read by Justice Mohammed Idris, the court held that Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution as amended empowers the President with broad discretion to implement extraordinary measures in an emergency situation to avert anarchy or restore public order. While the provision does not explicitly list permissible actions, the court interpreted it as permitting temporary suspensions of elected officials, provided such measures are time-limited and are aimed at achieving normalcy. The lead verdict also states that the President is vested with the responsibility to protect the Federation, and these include deploying necessary tools during crisis where governance has collapsed. In a dissenting verdict, Justice Obandio Ogunya, who maintained that the President's emergency powers, though valid but declaration, do not extend to suspending democratically elected leaders such as governors, deputies, or lawmakers. He urged that such actions undermine federalism and the constitutional process for removing elected officials. Now, the federal government has reiterated that 70% of capital components of the 2026 budget projection is being rolled over from the approved 2025 budget. Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Idun, had an interaction with the Senate Committee on the Finance on 2026-2028 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper, explained that funding is available for the 2024 capital and 30% for the 2025 capital component, both of which are ongoing.
The whole questions going around is all about release of payment. Is there money? If there is money, is the payment being made for 2024 and 2025?
Funding has been provided, payment started, specifically for the indigenous contractors. We've gone more than 80%.
An authority declares the 2025 festive period is here again, bringing the usual high traffic for travelers. This time, air travel has come with an unprecedented rise in ticket prices.
The rate of airline operation in Nigeria has been very high. So if you don't work out your economics very well, it will affect your operation. And when it starts affecting operation in that way, it has a likelihood to affect even safety. And you cannot compromise safety standard.
Personally, I don't subscribe, I don't agree that any ticket anywhere in Nigeria should cost 500,000 naira. But it's down to market forces. The CA does not regulate airfares, because I know that this is a burning issue, and no CA anywhere in the world regulates airfares.
And that's the news at this time. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Jumai Anyari, but that will be after this time out.